Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. You're watching In Deep on the Delta, and today I'm going to do a quick bait review, and it's going to be of a new worm that's coming out of the Japan, and it is by the Geecrach company, which a lot of you may know the Geecrach company producing these billows gill things. Now, I've tried the billows gill, and I'll tell you right off the bat, I'm not totally sold on these guys yet. Still doing some work on them, and I'll do a report on these things in a few weeks when I get a little more time on the water with them, and we'll talk about the billows gill. But what I want to talk about is the Geecrach Bellows Stick, and it is a worm. And I'm telling you already, I've done a lot of research with this bait, and it is unbelievable. When you pull this bait out of the bag, you know something's different about it right away. It's extremely pliable. It just feels like if you were a fish, you'd want to eat this. They actually smell like peanut butter. I haven't tasted them yet, but I'm sure they taste good, but I don't think they're for human consumption. So let's talk about this. I mean, you can't really see everything that I'm talking about until you have one of these in your hand. This is an 8-inch bait. Just the weight distribution on this bait, it's a great bait to cast. It's extremely durable, and what I noticed is as pliable as it is, the head of this bait right here is extremely durable, along with the core that you see running through the middle of this. And if you look at this, it's got these corrugated gills on it, I guess we'll call them. These are very soft. They hold water. They also one of the advantages of these worms, for you guys that are using a scent, especially something like this Mega Strike, which is a very viscous scent, when you put it on this worm here, it tends to hold the scent really nice in these corrugations here. You can fish this bait any way you would a regular worm, T-rig, Carolina rig, any way you want to use it. I really like throwing these things on a just a weightless, wacky type of rig. I also love to throw them on a Nico rig. And getting back to the core of this, where it's extremely durable, this head is a different plastic than what is on the rest of this bait. I don't know how they do it, but if you're going to use a nail weight in here and you poke it in that head, it's not coming out. It stays in there. Now, a lot of times if you guys are fishing Cincos and you're putting a nail weight in the head of a Cinco because it's so soft, a lot of times the nail weight will come out. That does not happen with this. Now, these things come in anywhere from about a 3.8 size to an 8-inch size. Here is a 5.8. This is just so you can see it, this is a 6-inch Cinco 5.8 billows gill. They come in laminated colors. Now, one thing I want to tell you about the colors that come out of Japan, they're not always the color that you may think they are. Their green pumpkins are not exactly our green pumpkins, so on and so forth. So there's some oddball colors. Now, I will say with this billows worm stick, the green pumpkin is a very nice color. Nice green pumpkin. They have a green pumpkin laminate here that's really nice. And they also have a other good colors. This, I don't know what the heck they call this, but you just be careful when you're choosing out your colors on these things. This is kind of a brown, I don't know what this would be called. I don't even know what they call it, but be careful when you're choosing your colors on these things. My favorite way to throw these things is weightless wacky, and if I can show you something here, what's really nice about these things is if you are using an O-ring of any type, like the regular frenzy style O-rings or just a standard O-ring. I've got this little red O-ring on this guy here, and you can see how I have this set up. Let me pull this hook off of. Once you put that O-ring where you want it, it doesn't move. So again, on a Cinco, you'll put an O-ring on here, and sometimes it'll slide down this way or slide down that way. These rings are very useful when it comes to figuring out exactly where you want it on the hook, where the action is. Sometimes you may want it more in the middle, sometimes you may want it up here, maybe you want it right by the head. But once you put that O-ring on here, it really holds this worm in the right place. If you are going to hook this thing, not just through the O-ring like this, if you go ahead and put it into the core a little deeper, this is really tough stuff in here. So you're going to really find that although these are not cheap baits, they last a lot longer than the Senkos. Another thing that I want to talk about is the sink rate on the 5.8 and the 5.8 Geecrach compared to the 6.6-inch Senko. Their fall rate is about the same, and you'll see as I'm showing you in the underwater footage here, the action on these things, there's no comparison to, in my opinion, what the Senko gives you compared to the Geecrach. The Geecrach has much more action. It's a much more finessey bait, and as I said before, they're really good baits. I really like them, and I think you're going to like them. So that's one of the baits coming from Japan that you really want to try. You can get them through Tackle Warehouse, and it is the Geecrach Bellows Gill. Now here's another thing that I want to talk about, another quick bait. The Rains Bubbling Shaker, another bait from Japan, is another bait that you, if you like this style corrugated bait, they make one a little more finessey. And to tell you the truth, I like the colors in the Rains baits more than the Geecrach. This happens to be a little, it's called their peanut butter and jelly. It's purple and brown. Really, really nice color for here on the Delta or any of the mother lode lakes. Now, the reason I'm telling you about the Rains baits, they can also be purchased through Tackle Warehouse or anybody that's carrying stuff from Japan. These come from 3.8 to 10 inches long. This is, I think, a 4.8 bait. But the smaller baits come in a lot of really nice colors, and I actually think these baits from the Rains company are going to suit you guys that are fishing in clear water a little bit more than what the Geecrach company is selling. So if you're looking for a small drop shot bait, really look at that Rains Bubbling Shaker. They've got some great colors, and you can't go wrong with either one of these. And again, they do come in sizes up to 10 inches long, so keep your eyes on both of these baits. That's it, guys. That bait is one that you should have right now, because when they start picking up worms this spring, I think they're going to at least perform as well, if not better, than the Senko. And you're not going to hear me say that very often, because the Senko is one of my favorite baits. But I'll tell you what, so far with this bait, I'm super impressed. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of these bait reviews, especially the stuff coming in from Japan. I'm trying to check these things out before a lot of people are getting their hands on them. So when I find a good one, I could let you guys know what I think of it. When I find one that's not so good, I'll also let you guys know what to think of. Thanks a lot for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We'll see you at the next video.